This is a powerful gospel today. It's one of the things that really teaches a tremendous lesson, and it's not an easy lesson. Here come this two apostles, disciples at this time, and this very, very interesting thing when they said to Jesus, we want you to do for us whatever we ask of you. Now, that's kind of, I'm not exactly sure what the word, I don't know if the word I want to say I can't say during, here in church, but, I mean, how nasty is that? You look in the Bible, God is saying to us, I want you to do this or that or whatever. And here they come, right? They're talking to God and said, well, here's what you're supposed to do, Jesus. You do this because we want this. And it's kind of just rather outrageous. Kind of find a little comical, too, that somebody would talk to God like this. So Jesus, he's a smart guy, so he plays along a little bit in this. Well, can you drink the chalice that I will drink and be baptized with I am baptized? And these guys are probably maybe 20, 21 years old. That's about what a grown man in Israel at that time, 2,000 years ago. If you were 40 or 50, you were an old man. So they were probably about that age. And says, oh yeah, we can do it, no problem. Oh, it's easy. We'll do that, we can do this. We can do this, Thinking, they don't even know what they're talking about. They don't realize what the chalice and the baptism of Jesus really is all about. So why did they do this? Well, maybe they saw Jesus and all the wonderful miracles he was doing and cures, etc. The way he preached. It's okay. This is the Shiach, the Messiah. And they want to be on his team. And that's good. That's a good thing to do. Perhaps they were looking for power. Now, we all, in a sense, look for power, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, okay? Parents have power over their children. We have politicians who have power. And so just wanting to have power, that's not a bad thing in itself. But we have to have a sense of power for service. Not just to give myself praise and goodness and all this kind of stuff and get accolades and things like that. That's not what it's supposed to be about. But you look at somebody like Mother Teresa, who had a lot of power. So when the Pope gave her a car, and she right away sold it off to have the money to do other things. But she didn't do it for herself, but for somebody else. This is what we hear in Jesus' reply to James and John was that he is talking about suffering for the sake of the world. That's what he's talking about. And that's what he's asking, all of us to embrace suffering for the sake of the world. That's what he did. And we have a priesthood that is to the witnessing of Jesus having that kind of suffering. And we have to be careful about that. There's a lot of people who go out and say, oh, this is wrong or that is wrong. The social justice peoples, they got all these things, and I don't like that. This has got to, and we have all these, and that's true. There's a lot of terrible things going on in the world today. A lot of people just are angry and don't do anything about it. They just say, well, this ought to be fixed. And that's okay. Yeah, maybe we should do that. But how and why and we do this? We should use the power that we have as Jesus did. Now here's Jesus, God, the most powerful person that's ever walked on the earth. And look how he used his power. He came down in the muck and the mud of our world. He didn't just talk about it. He did something about it. And that's what he's asking you and I to do that. Not just to talk, but to act. And to have even taking on suffering for the sake of the world, and bring that beauty and that love to one another. It's not always easy. It's not always easy. In fact, it's hardly ever easy. But that's what you and I are called to do. And when we think about it and go back to the very first reading we had in the liturgy today, was the Lord was pleased to crush him, to crush him. This song of the suffering servant, and he's offering this, and by doing this through the suffering, then things can be cured. We can be on the right path. So we have to do that. We have to be like Jesus, the high priest that we hear in the second reading. He is a high priest. Now, in those days, in Jesus' time, the high priests were somewhat aloof from people, and they were protected and all this kind of stuff. They were above the things of the world. But this suffering servant, who is Jesus, that's not what he is doing. He is coming down and doing the work. So how do we do that? Some people are really suffering because they actually go out and do things. Mother Teresa, St. Ignatius, St. Vincent de Paul. These are the people that went out and did the things. So we have to do that. Now, again, you have to be prudent, because Jesus was very prudent. But what are you ready to do? With the homeless, what do we do? How do we help them? You can't just, we should do something. Well, what is that you're willing to do? How many times go in your closets and all the clothes that we have, and maybe we can suffer a little bit by saying, hey, this is good stuff. I don't need all this. I don't have to have all this. We can do that. We can step out into going to maybe being somebody that is taking a communion to the sick. We're giving service to the poor and the needy. So there's so many things. And so we have to be like Jesus and say, okay, what is this baptism? This baptism is not simply what happened when we were babies. But Jesus' baptism was on the cross. with the nails in his hands. He didn't just kind of stay up in heaven. He came down on this land, on this very ground that we walk on. He said, where are the poor, the needy, the lost? Are we ready to do that? That's what is being asked. Service, suffering for the sake of the world. That's what's going to help change the world. That's what's going to really make a difference. It's not easy, but the reward is the fullness of heaven. And this is where we become saints. You do not become a saint after you die. If we're going to be a saint, we have to do it now. Because that's where we earn the title of saint. Jesus was there. He's here. Let us hear his voice in our hearts. Say, yes, Lord, I'll do this. And then you concretize it and you actually do it. That's what Jesus did. Let us be this baptismal baptism and be like the great high priest. That's what he asks of us. And he will always give us the strength to do this.